Hi everyone, very good evening. Welcome to SIM Intelligence. So I am Vishnuvardhan Chandapatla, who will be going to take something like your certified QRadar analyst program in further sessions, right? So prior to going to these particular sessions, so we will have a basic understanding of our company SIM Intelligence. So just I'll explain about myself as well as SIM Intelligence in a better manner so that you can easily even understand what we are and what is our scope, right? So SIM is one of the leading blue teaming as well as SIM training provided company. Exclusively, we are providing so many offers on various wide ranges of courses and training in terms of information and cyber security. We are one of the fast growing online security training provider company based out of India. We deal with most of the security as well as information security information and event management operations as well as SOC trainings. We have a highly qualified and you can say skillful people who are considered as our InfoSec trainers, holding a wide range of accreditations like CISA, you can say CISM, and there are a lot many other with in a security domains and with a great experience, right? So our goal is to train, mentor as well as support your career in terms of cybersecurity. Our main focus to provide a unmatched, unexceptional, unmatched hands-on practical training in terms of course. So let's move on to our topic. So I am Vishnuvardhan Chandapatla. I am postgraduate from IT. You can say I did my post-graduation in Punjab Technical University in 2007. I'm doing presently research papers on cyber forensics and information security from University of Madras. Right. So I have various certifications like CISA and you can say IBM QRadar Analyst and Architect. I am a CISA, you can say Security Plus as well as Network Plus certifications. I did my CEH and ENSA for the sake of you can say training purposes. So I worked as you can say system administrator as well as network administrator, where I understood so many services like ADD, NSD, HCP for early stage of my life, and I worked as even you can say I handled you can say hall-based network architecture, where I had a very in-depth knowledge of L2, L3, and you can say load balancing as well as you can say router configurations of you can say perimeter firewall as well as perimeter router as well as you can say core edge and provider edge routers. I worked as a then after that I worked as a cybersecurity coordinator and I jumped into IT information security. Since 2009 till now, I have an enormous experience of 13 years in terms of exclusively information security, where I lead. Someone wants to ask some question. Sorry. Yeah. So I handled exclusively, you can say cybersecurity. You can say sometimes I worked as a network analyst. I worked as a system analyst. I worked as a SOC manager. I worked as an operations manager, and at various levels. And right now I'm a cloud security analyst, and I can say provided data center management unit. Right. I do take these kind of sessions like you can say IBM QRadar, SIEM, Network Plus, Security Plus, and various SOC experts. So I do take these kind of sessions since last 3 years. Okay. This is a brief introduction about me so that you can easily you can get an idea of how your instructor is, right? So let's move on to the actual topic. That's what CQA, Certified QRadar Analyst. So I welcome you all to SIM Intelligence in this towards this course, and in this course we are going to learn about what is meant by SIM first and foremost. So in fact I will go in a basic concepts of what is meant by information from information with respect to log, what is meant by event and a flow. We'll start up from there because some of you people may know each and everything, but this is something, a brush up area for at least a 1 hour or a 2 hours of time where we discuss about what is a log security, what is mean by log, what is the log challenges, why we required a log analysis. That is the first question we need to arise ourselves. Then we'll discuss about what is SIEM, what is a CM, that is concept of event collection and event management. So then what is mean by correlation? Why the correlation come into the picture? What is mean by ELK extract? We'll discuss about elastic search modeling. Then we will move on to the specific concept called QRadar solution, right? So prior to this, there is a 1 or 2, at least around 3 hours of session. We will discuss about what is log security management, why we require a log, and what are the different aspects that are there in our log management, right? Then we will move on to the QRadar solution architecture. What is mean by architecture of the QRadar? What is mean by deployment architecture? What is mean by, you can say, component architecture? And we will even do some installations, administration, lab setup activities. So we'll do most of the things in a practical manner. So I'll give you, you can say, PDFs for the sake of only to understand yourself. Or you can say this presentation PowerPoint says only to make yourself comfort, so that you have some, you can say, practice materials, as well, hands-on practice material, handouts, you can say. So I will go to help you out how to navigate your each and every user interface and how to handle an log, what is mean by log activity, what is mean by network activity, what is mean by an offense, what is mean by suspicious activity, let's say, and how to investigate. Let's say there is an offense. So what is mean by what is the different type of offenses? What is mean by true positive, false positive, true negative, false negative? How do we analyze all these activities? These are things we are going to understand. We will here learn how to search, analyze the information from your QRadar concluded data, where the suspicious activity may happen, may not happen. So we will discuss all these things in the course entity, right? What we used to cover. So during this particular domain, we will cover about, as I said, log security management. I will talk about deployment and implementation. That's called component architecture as well as deployment architecture. What are the various architectures that are available in our QRadar entity? And history of QRadar is the most important. Requirement of QRadar, you can say hardware, software entities. What are the different softwares that are used in QRadar? What is the OS used for? What kind of, you can say, embedded implement prerequisites that are there? Then we will do some log integration and analysis. See, it is the most important area. So we will integrate Windows log integration and a Linux log integration, as well as a demo logs. I will provide some set of demo logs. Those logs will be integrated to this particular QRadar so that we can do the analysis. So by doing so, even we can come to know how to integrate our log sources, how to identify our QRadar, how to analyze our QRadar, right? Then what is mean by regular expressions and identification. So we have something called properties, or you can say schema, for each and every data. So these properties to be extracted from your junk data, right? So logs are something like heavy junk data where we want to pick up some specific properties like source IP, destination IP, source port and destination port. Those we require to identify, right? So to identify that, we require something called some extraction method on a similar data. That extraction method is called, the best example is called regular expressions, or you can consider people called regex. So this is one of the most important area where we can go and understand about regular expression and all. Then we will see something called custom DSM. What is mean by DSM? Right? What is DSM? So DSM is something called device support module, where your aggregation and parsing which happens through your data. So you will, this particular DSM will automatically identify so many properties like source IP and destination IP as we discussed. So if it is not getting discovered or parsed, how can we create a DSM for a specific log? Let's say there is a logs HRMS solution of your internal application which QRadar doesn't know. How QRadar can come to know these many products? Because there are millions and millions of products are there in the world. So they provided the major DSMs for their requirement according to the requirement. Now let's say you have created one your application. So if there is no DSM is there, because of course there will not be any DSM because you have used your own code consideration of creating logs for that. So how can we set up this DSM and all that we will discuss, right? There is something called custom rules. See, in the SIEM main concept is something called understanding correlations as creation of rules and finding some alerts out of it. So we will going to understand what is mean by rule, what is mean by building block, what is mean by local rule. Okay, so there are a lot many things we will discuss. These are the things. Then we will discuss about offense management, incident response, how to do offense management in QRadar, how to do incident response in QRadar, and there are some applications that we can integrate to QRadar. We will integrate at least 5 to 6 applications, though there are 378 I think as of today, because it is a keep on changing activity, something like Play Store only. For today I think it's 375 plus, or exactly if you want that something like 378 applications are available in Xforce Exchange. Those applications can be integrated to QRadar. I will at least explain you about minimum 5 to 6 important applications, and the further applications you yourself can evaluate. Then we will discuss about IBM QRadar administration and management configuration. There are a lot many things into the happen, so we will discuss all in this particular course topic. And finally, assets and report management, rule refining, troubleshooting, all these concepts will be covered in this particular QRadar course. For what kind of job you will get after this? You can be a SOC manager, you can do incident response by using QRadar, you can be a malware and threat hunter, incident response handler, you can be something like cybersecurity specialist in blue teaming, and you can be a security administrator for QRadar administration duties. So you can go for these kind of jobs after completion of this particular CQA, right? So we have created this course content in a total of 20 sections, right? And I divided personally these 20 sections into 3 different parts. One is administration, second is operations, third is management, right? So generally QRadar and not any SIM used to have something called administrations and operations. But in this case, I preferably personally, I do divided into 3 parts, something called administration, maintenance and operations. Now what is administration? All administration includes your architecture understanding, and you will say setting up of your home lab, installation of your QRadar, product upgradation, downgradation, integration, and you can say all these log integrations, you can say all these come into your this particular administration. Then operations. In operations we will discuss about user interface, console overview, analysis. There are 2 methods. One is called GUI method called graphical user interface. The second one is called AQL query. That is because here in this particular QRadar it uses something called, for event collection it uses something called aerial database. For configuration there is something called PostgreSQL. So there are 2 databases which will provide you the QRadar as an operational entity, right? Then as we discussed, we will understanding about custom property extraction, what is mean by regex, that is regular expression, in this particular section 10. In a section 11, as I said, there is something called device support module, most important topic of QRadar. People used to be, you can say, come here for the sake of this particular DSM and the rules creation only, most of the people. So we are here to provide the best examples with the best solutions with the various device support modules. I will give you a real-time experience in terms of creating your digital, and even I will show you real-time integration and when it will go from unknown logs to the known logs. The entire, you can say, let's say I'll show you an example. In this case, see, I created one in an admin. If you see admin, there is something called a DSM editor. There is something called DSM editor. If you see here, there is something called IBM. Let's go. So this is what the custom DSM which we created for the sake of sessions. So right now we are having a session already in progress where I told you how to set up these particular things, and for which I do throw some logs. Let's say I'll show you. Let's say I have some demo logs. Over lab files. In this area, I have something to run. See, this is my, you can say demo logs, for which I'll get some logs over here. See, in this area, if you see properly, there are some logs which is giving some name. These are called C. Normal logs are something like C. The same log is showing some unknown logs as well as known logs. Because these have made, I made personally, these are something like I'll show you in a better manner. See, this is the one log source called Palo Alto, where it was this particular log source is of, you can say this DSM is of default by QRadar, where the events are looks like this, because this is created by QRadar team. Whereas I created personally another DSM, which I intentionally created in a capitals so that we can easily understand. I'll show you. See, this is what my DSM, where it is giving some TCP underscore port underscore scan underscore alert. And over here also some of them are intentionally stopped here to show as a unknown. So I can make this as a known, and I will show you as this is what called custom DSM. See, here it is showing IBM and IPS, right? So this is the same thing. If you go to my admin and if I go to log sources, see, there is something called log source which is considered as custom DSM and is a part of IBM NSPS custom DSM. So this is how actually this is the process actually setup was happened. In case if you want to see how it happens, how we can create and all, that we will see in a session, real-time session, right? So after this particular device support module, we will go and create how to create a dashboard, how to rename a dashboard, how to delete a dashboard, how to add widgets to this particular dashboard. So that we will discuss. I said offense management, dealing with offenses, the most important area. How to handle an offense if the alert is there, whether it is a true positive or a false positive. What if it is a false positive? What we need to do if it is a true positive? What kind of incident response we need to handle according to SOPs and playbooks or rule books, whatever. And there is something, right? Someone wants to ask some
Hello.
question.
Yeah, yeah. So in this training, you get some custom input, right? They come from macro.
Yeah, could you please ask the question once again?
So in this training, you will create a MITRE framework based alerts.
Yeah, of course. We will show you how to set up a MITRE imported. See, there is something called mapping. How to do a mapping on a rules.
Hmm.
While creating rules, while understanding the rules, if you are understanding that this particular rule is for, let's say, there is a reconnaissance based rule, then in this particular rules, what is your tactic and a technique that we can map into that particular rule, that we will show you in this particular UCM called use case manager. I will literally show you in a practical what is in the use case manager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will go there. No worries. So each and every part of QRadar, we are going to cover something called tenant and user management. That's called domain management. I said there are rules. There is something specific related to.
Sorry to interrupt. Can we get recording for all the sessions
Yeah,
that are,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. You will get the recordings. You can
whether it
get.
is a lifetime access or else is there any limitation for that?
It is related. It's related with you as you discuss with your HR team. So contact HR team in this regard. They will tell you about what is the policy is available in this regard, right?
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So and we will even, as I said, we can integrate with a. There are a lot many of apps are there. There is something like 378 apps with respect to various applications, with respect to various services. So we can integrate all those, right? See, as I said, overview of MITRE ATT&CK framework that I will explain, and we will integrate you through this particular MITRE ATT&CK. You can say mapping. We will integrate some rules with respect to MITRE ATT&CK, right? There is something called asset and report management. Is one of the most important area, though it's like a very easy and a small entity, but assets and reports area is a once configurable, and this particular report is something called oftenly configured, right? And we'll do some tuning and troubleshooting, and for each and every section we will provide you recording sessions. We will provide you something called PDFs. We'll provide you something called some presentations, a PDF sentence and all that will be provided to you. Okay, and these are some sections. If we start understanding, if we go deeply, if we go deeply, if you go one by one very deeply, so there are a lot many things to understand, right? So if you are understanding something called, let's say, tenant. So in this particular tenant, I'll show you some a good example, right? If you see in your admin, there is the user management option is there. Let's say we'll talk about user management. If you are a SOC service provider, you have a option called, let's say you have purchased a very big SIEM in your organization and you want to provide a SIEM services to the organization. So how you can give? The concept of tenant management is available in your QRadar. You can provide the SOC services to others by creating a tenant over here. For this tenant, you can link this to some domain, and this particular link this domain. After this, you can create something called network hierarchy for each domain. From there, you can create a security profile and a user roles and a users for them, so that they can log in into their QRadar as they assume that that is their own QRadar. That means you are creating some different profiles for different organizations, so that they easily understand that this is my own QRadar. So now I'm able to do. However, actually what is happening on the background, all the logs are coming to the one location and it's bypassing according to the requirement. And the logs are in a such a fashion, it has a very granular settings, right? So you can go with a very granular settings. What logs you want to show, what that logs, there are a lot many things. See again, in the logs, see these are the different types of granular permissions are available. We'll go one by one and we will understand what is the meaning of all granular permissions with respect to user management, right? Similarly, as one of our friend asked, there is something called offense. In this offense, there is something called how to analyze an offense. There are so many options. See, I have created one domain called CQA. This by default domain is there. It's called default domain. So there is a service I provided to CQFI, right? So in this particular CQFI, there are so many options called. See, you can protect this particular offense. You can delete. You can close. You can say unprotect. You can export. You can assign. So we will discuss one by one, right? Yeah. So this is the you can say understanding of our offenses. Similarly, there is something called rules. It's getting open, right? So in these rules, there are multiple again types. See, if you see here, by default, rules are two types. One is rules and building blocks. Now, what is rules and what is building blocks? See, if building blocks are something called combination of multiple rules, or you can say you can utilize this building block in some complex rule so that it can give you a much better result of that particular rule. You can, while creating a complex rules, this, if there is a common step is continuously required for various rules, you can create a building block over there so that it will be very helpful for utilizing multiple rules for that particular session. And there is something called asset rules, there is something called, you can say log, you can say event rule, there is something called network rule, there is flow rule, there is something called offense rule, there is something called common rule. So we will discuss each and every rule, what is a different rule. And in rule there is something called rule trigger, or you can say rule action and rule response. Now if the rule triggers, what kind of rule action can be taken place, what is the rule response. Now what is meant by rule action and what is meant by rule response. Action is the immediate activity and the response is a, for this action will be done by QRadar, and the response is something called, for this some services will be activated background so that that will be automatically work for some other purpose. Okay, this we will discuss in a very deeper in manner, right? And in a dashboard, as I said, see, there is something called Smitha dashboard as created for Smitha, and you can also create it for a other dashboard. I'm creating, let's say, demo dashboard. Right? Right. It's created. Now I can add some widgets to here. See, let's see. I'll show you a common widgets. I'm adding some notifications. See, I'm adding some system summary. See, I'm adding some you can say log activities. Let's say so this is how we can create, and whenever you don't want, you can just rename it. See, let's say from demo to, let's say it is it's promo. Let's say it's promo, right? Promotional dashboard. And if you want to share, you can share with the others also. It is something like, while sharing means you are sharing the, you can say, work entity and all, which makes you more comfortable. You can say the others need not to worry for the same activity in your organization. From demo to promotional dashboard. So this is how we can do, and there are a lot many things. If you go one each area, see, in a log activity, if you see here, there are more than, see, there are more than 7 to 8 columns again. For each column there are multiple options again, menu, sub menu, again in there are so many menu parts are there. In actions, what are the different options? In rules, then what does it mean by in rule options? Why it is not highlighting right now? When it will get highlighted? What is mean by this dashboard? You can say corporate area. Those we will discuss in a very deeper entity. Okay, right? So there is something called, see, this is what called aerial query area. This is what called, you can say, CLI mode, command line interface. Whereas we have another mode called GUI. We can go for both search, something called GUI search, as well as you can say command line search. So how can we do, and all that we will discuss in the session, right? So as I said, we will cover up something called MITRE attack framework as well as incident response plans. And there's some asset and reports. See, by default, there are some assets which automatically discovered by your, see, in CQA there are so many, you can say set of users are getting discovered. See, this is how we can come to know. And there are how many, there are total 53 assets are there right now, because this is a very smaller entity and this is a smaller demo logs, right? And similarly, like we can come to know in what is inside in that particular each and every individual system or a computer or whatever. And there is something called reports. You can create a report according to your compliance standards. What company is your and what kind of policies and compliances you required. Let's say there is something called health industry. Then you require something called HIPAA. You require a credit card and debit card industry. Then something called you have to set up something called PCI DSS level of compliances. So here by default there are some options they created and they kept it ready for with a there are some basic compliance standards they have already placed. However, you can also bring out some of the reports from outside of this particular QRadar and find the solution for it. Right? So this is what mean by reports. Actually, QRadar looks like this. Basically, it is an application. This is how a application looks like. If you want to enter this area, you have to provide username and password to get inside this particular application. Now, how to install and all that we'll discuss in our sessions, right? Any doubts with respect to course content? Any queries? Just let me know now. And we will discuss later. If you have any doubts, let's kill others.
You will explain like log source integration, different kinds of log sources,
Exactly,
and also if
exactly.
any custom property we need to
Extract.
add, which tag we need to add. Those
Exactly.
processes you will explain.
Yeah, of course. That is what called, as I said, see, custom property extraction is there, regular expression, integration process is there, Windows, Linux, and demo logs. As you said, I even said upgradation process, how to do upgradation, how to integrate the thing. In integration also we are going to see something called managed version of WinCollect and an unmanaged version of WinCollect and the syslog versions. There are two types of syslog version. One is R syslog, one is syslog. How we'll going to integrate and all that we will discuss. Even the installation of QRadar community and the each and every log sources. See, once logs come into the picture, we can go for a global log analysis to advanced log analysis. See, one is called simple log analysis, global log analysis, you can say manual analysis, dynamic analysis. Dynamic analysis is something called offense, let it be by using correlation and all that we will discuss later. So in this log analysis, we will understand what is meant by simple log analysis, what is meant by global log analysis, what is meant by event log analysis, what is meant by category analysis, what is meant by source IP, by destination IP, by event name, by source port, by category. So basically we will do something called grouping of various property and finding some solutions. And out of the solution, we will create something called rules with the common rules. So once the common rules makes a simple common rules, a bundle of simple common rules will make the complex rules. So this is how a log analysis start happens with respect to one log integration. While doing this particular activity, sometimes you may require something called custom property extraction. We will do custom property extraction. Similarly, while doing logs integration, sometimes it may show some it goes unknown, unable to detect by your QRadar because see, as I said, QRadar is not a you can say god. At last, it can only handles whatever it knows. We can create a DSM and we can attach the DSM to the unknown logs to make it known. That we will discuss in our session. As I shown you, dashboard is easy. Dealing with offences, as I said, there is something and again by source IP, by destination IP, or you can consider by victim, by adversary. What is mean by victim and by what is mean by adversary? What is mean by you can say by so you can say network. These are by category. What's mean by low level category? What is mean by high level category? We will discuss that. And during this particular course of activity, we can come to know one is called QID, QRadar identifier. Now, what is this QRadar identifier? How we will assign QRadar identifier to one single event name. Then during that particular process, if something goes unknown, how we are doing, we will do something called QRadar identifier mapping with the event name by using event category and event ID. That we will discuss all these activities in our session, right? And as I said, I will integrate so many applications.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you covering log parsing?
Uh, I did not come to know. Your voice is.
So, my question is, are you covering log parsing topic?
See, while doing log analysis, the first thing coming to the picture is called parsing. If you don't know how to parse, then how will you integrate? So the parsing comes over here itself, while integration is called log parsing. See some SIM. See this is one of the gray area. All SIMs are, you can say, not using the same terminology. Logs integration and log parsing, log onboarding, and you can say log. If you see, there are some words called aggregation, there is something called parsing, there is something called collation. These are some very near real, you can say synonyms to each other. Aggregation and parsing, both are same. Now parsing is with respect to properties, aggregation is with respect to time, right? So we need to understand what is mean by aggregation, what is mean by parsing. We will discuss one by one what is mean by parsing, what are the things it can parse. So that is what called properties. Once it is not properties, once the properties are not getting parsed, then it is called, you can say, it is going unknown. It's getting stored. It's not getting parsed. Now, how we can we make parse? Then we need to create something called DSM, right? So we will create a DSM to parse your unknown logs to the known logs. So this is what called the procedure of, you can say, log parse, log onboarding somewhere. Some SIM people called log onboarding, some people call log integration, some people called, you can say, onboarding of logs, some people call log onboarding. So there are say various words. So used to, you can say, identify your log integration. No worries, we will cover log parsing, log aggregation, what is mean by reference set, what is mean by reference to reference set, what is mean by, you can say, data aggregation, index management. You can say there are a lot many concepts if you are understanding. See, in QRadar, it is something like, it is a very huge, you can say, bomb. If you start getting inside something like onion, if you go inside, there are a lot many things. Even we'll talk about what is mean by obfuscation and all, how to do obfuscation. See, people don't talk about all those things, but even I'll explain about what is mean by obfuscation, data obfuscation, how to do the obfuscation even for log analyzer. And there is something called, you can say, data retention buckets. How many days the data can be retained in your QRadar? What is the policy related to your data retention and data disposal? How to do the data disposal? What is the automation and, you can say, backup procedure of QRadar? What are the different in import methodology? What is meant by auto updation? What are the different restrictions are there? See, there are a lot many scope is there. So we will cover each and every tab of your QRadar. That's the most important concern, right? And it is something like we are going to understand something like, after this we are understanding something called IR, most important. We will talk about use cases. We'll talk about use cases. What if phishing attack happens? What if the ransomware attack happens? What if the multiple login failures? What if the regional failures? What if the users get deleted? What if the group get deleted? What is the different kind of, what is mean by brute force attack? What is mean by DDoS attack? So we will discuss this along with the logs identification, and we will do the troubleshooting. And what if you forget password, if logs are not coming, and if the integration is not happened properly. So we will discuss all these things in a sessions, right? Yeah, someone wants to ask something.
What about the like if QRadar integration was like different regions? Let's say like two to three different regions. If one was not reporting or something was happening, uh, can you explain those things also? Like what kind of troubleshooting steps if they give something
Yeah,
like
that's
what?
what. See, I will explain you what is the requirement. If see, it's something like, let's say I'll explain you about one product, two product, three products. I can explain you about three products. It's not like I if there, see, that's what I'm telling. I can explain you the methodology of troubleshooting the, if the logs are not coming. What is the gray area? What can be the gray area if the logs are not coming? It's not mean that if I'm taking a single, you can say, log source, I will, of course, I will take multiple log source. I will show you that these are the different areas where you have to check for the log integration. It's not happened properly. It's not parsing. It's not sending the data over the network properly. What are the different mechanism of forwarding of logs? Those we will discuss, and where we need to do the troubleshoot. Whether it is a requirement of doing troubleshoot at console or event processor or event collector or any other area or at the client side. So where we need to understand. So that those troubleshooting will, of course, we will discuss. Otherwise, without troubleshooting, how will you do the analysis? If there is no logs are coming, then how will you do the analysis? If there is no log, then there is no use. I'll explain you how to do the various, at least two to three different troubleshootings where you may get some set of, you can say, protocol based analysis. Let's say there is a win collect based log source issue. Let's say there is a RSys log based issue. So whoever the devices issue gets same issue, let's say there are some thousand devices are using log R log RSys log, then it is easy for you to identify. See, if the R syslog point of view, this is a troubleshooting methodology. For syslog point of view, this is a troubleshooting methodology. For WinCollect point of view, this is a troubleshooting methodology. Most important areas. And how can we understand the permission settings in our SMB based collection? So that we will discuss, right? Any other doubts? So this particular session will start in another, in say next week onwards. So those who are interested, so please join the sessions. And of course, it's very good and very boom worthy. And if you have any queries, just contact here. And I forget to tell you guys, the sessions is of, you can say, 9 to 10 p.m. every weekdays, right? 9 to 10 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Timing, according to Indian Standard Timing, 9 to 10 p.m. every day, 1 hour. And you can ask the same question. People used to ask, why don't you kill off the sessions in a 15 days, or you can say by extending hours, something like 2 hours a day and all. See, log analysis is something which you require to sit for a longer period to identify different type of understanding. So that's the reason we made it is a 1 hour session every day, so that you will get so many doubts, and through the doubts we can clarify your different type of use cases, issues and all, right? Someone wants to ask some question. Yeah, Ganesh, could you please? Hi Ganesh. Milind.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
This is
hi.
Yeah, both are there. Could any one of you please?
yeah, Ganesh, carry on.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to ask one
No,
thing
it's
that
done.
what
It's
is the pre?
done from my end. I have asked my question.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible to me.
Yeah, I have just one question to ask that what is the prerequisite for this course actually? Because
So,
I have 8 years of experience in which I have in the server administration and the NOC, so that's why I'm asking.
so that's more than sufficient. You require a basic Linux skills. If you don't have that Linux skills, also no worries. I will tell you how to understand that particular skills too, right? Even I will explain you. I will give you some set of important commands to understand how to see. We required for administration. We required some basic commands over the period of time. If you get into that particular commands and all while doing and all, you can come to know easily. So I will give you a set of important commands to identify your QRadar based administration and what is mean by Linux and all. I'll give you a basic introduction about file file structure, how we can understand your, you can say, Linux and all that we will discuss. No worry. And it's 3 years of
Okay,
experience is more than sufficient in terms of, you can say, services as network, as you can say, it's a very good time to understand this particular QRadar, right? Yeah, Ganesh. Now it's your turn.
Manoj here. So in
Yeah,
section 18, you are saying the review of Mitre attack, right? I
yeah.
think Mitre attack is almost it's by default it's integrated. So what are you going to cover in that?
See, in MITRE, we are going to make you understand about what is MITRE first. What is the use of this particular MITRE? So how you are going to understand what is mean by TTPs. You can say the starting of, you can say tactics, techniques and procedures. So what and all that you actually, by without understanding MITRE, you can create a rule, but while mapping that particular rule with the MITRE, it is very difficult if you don't know the TTPs. So if you're creating a rule for recon, so what TTP to be added and all that you should know, right? Let's say if you're creating a exfiltration based rule, so where on which TTP it is there, on which tactics, under which tactics this particular TTP technique and sub technique is there, that we are going to explain. This is something like, see, familiarization,
So are you
understanding of.
going to see there are almost 14 to 15 techniques, okay, and each technique has sub techniques. So
Yeah,
it will be around 300 techniques. So are
yeah.
you going to cover all the techniques?
No, no, no.
It's
I'm
not
going to
possible, right?
see. I'm going to familiarize you what is MITRE, right? See, this is not a MITRE based classes, right? So I'm not going to cover MITRE, but here we are going to make you familiarize that what is MITRE, so that along with this particular class, what are the at least 14 different, you can say, tactics. Under 14 tactic major, see what are the 14 tactics, and how you can drag. See, let's say, see what are the different tabs are there in the, you can say, MITRE site, and how you can go inside, and what are the different tabs are there, those things that we are going to explain these. See, this is actually analysis and, you can say, administration class of QRadar. However, we require to understand what is MITRE, because while creating the rule, what kind of rule you are creating, according to that you can easily map that particular rule with the MITRE, so that it will be very easy to identify while doing the, you can say, analysis, right? Okay, during the session, can you show how to onboard cloud logs? Uh, this is something called very difficult for us, because we are set up our setup, you can say, QRadar in the on-premises area. So as you said, you are also talking about offense use cases. Could you share those use cases in PDF format? Yeah, of course. I will share the offenses, how to handle an offense, what is mean by offense, and what are the whatever I have my use cases with me, that I will share it with you. It's something like, as we discussed, phishing attacks, you can say ransomware attacks. There's something called login failure attacks. You can say brute force attacks. That means something like, see, like we are going to share something, understand something like around 10 to 10 around different use cases. Out of 10 use cases, we will discuss about 4 to 5, and the other 5 will be given to you so that you can read out yourself. At least you can come to know the methodology, how you are going to understand, right?
Uh, is admin part is included? Any administrative part is included here?
Yeah, of course, the installation method, upgradation method, integration method, you can say, and configuration methods is all the part of administration. And even you can come to know how to do what is mean by architectural diagram. That is what is mean by, you can say, component architecture, as well as, you can say, this particular deployment architecture, right? So this is we are going to cover, and log integration. I'll going to explain. I'll do the log, you can say, upgradation process. So these are the most important area for you to understand as administrator. Any other?
So this course covers both admin and investigation part, right?
Exactly right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where I can download QRadar for practice. We'll tell you. We'll tell you offline. You can download. You can say there is a virtual machine is there. Okay. Can we discuss about threat intelligence? How can we feed threat? Right. It's very understandable. Uh, Threat intelligence have one application with us. I will show you how to do the threat integration, and how can we feed that particular threat integration with a app exchange. So as I said, while integrating our QRadar applications, this is one of the application threat intelligence that we are going to integrate with our QRadar, and that QRadar will have a feed with from QRadar X-Force exchange that I will show you, and you can come to know how to analyze the IOCs there. I'll show you a basic idea. See while after integration you yourself come to know how to do those things. Once I will tell you the entire log analysis process. Right? Thank you, Arun. Any other doubts?
Yeah, Vishnu.
Yeah. May I know who is
Yeah.
this?
Coming,
Hi,
coming
sir.
to session timings.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming to regarding the session timings, it's only 20 modules and that to 20 hours.
No 20
It's
hours.
covered.
Not 20
Even
hours.
if you take a session for every day,
No, no.
1 hour.
If I'm taking a day session means it's not. I'm not going to cover a one section, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
See, that entirely we are going to cover 35 to 40 hours of session, right? Almost
Uh,
some of the sections has 2 hours, some of the sections has 3 hours, some of the sections has only half an hour session. It's something like, see, assets and reports are a smaller entity. I can cover you in both the sessions in a one day itself. But some of the
yeah,
area is having a very larger entity, so I need to take some 3 hours of session, 4 hours of session. So we will do all those in a such a manner only, not like a in a day, right? It's not like this is of 35 hours as a standard of 35 hours.
okay.
Yeah,
Can we adaptable it? Like,
means
adaptable in the sense because fine tuning DSM
yeah,
for
that's
our
what that we will do the
this
fine tuning.
coming to session we needs to be happy to adapt to QRadar console tool while having admin access.
See, I will tell you how to do the installation on your lab itself, right?
Okay.
See, we'll tell you how to do the same activity in your missions. So I will give you integration part. See, home lab, how you are setting up your home lab and all. Then I will give you some modules to integrate. I will give you some demo logs to integrate in your area so that you yourself can feel your lab, and now you can create your own DSM. Now you can play with your own DSM. You have your idea of understanding of that particular area, right?
The lab setup we can use after the course also, right?
See, lab setup of yourself, right? In your mission itself, we will tell you how to do the things.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. For that, you will tell you what are the prerequisites and all that we will tell you once you join this particular sessions, right? And also, we'll also provide, you can say, offline monthly rental based labs if you are not having the prerequisite missions and all, right? Very, you can say, cheaper in nature, right? And uh, other than this, if you have any doubts, so as I said, we will provide, you can say, recorded sessions, and it is of every day 9 to 10. We will take this particular sessions, and other than that, we discussed about so many, you can say sections. What are the things that are there? But still, if you have any thought process doubts, and if you're unable to and I mean unable to recollect right now or any other issues, so just contact this particular mail id is vishnu the hacktivist at gmail.com and info@simintelligence.com, and there's a WhatsApp and there is a name called Rohan, who is our admin team and HR manager, who is going to handle all this training session. He's one of the beautiful guy. He's providing whatever you have any doubts, just you can contact him. If he's unable to rectify, he will forward it to me, the same related to if, whatever your doubts have, right? So we can get this.
What is the fee?
See, please contact related to this. Please contact your our HR team. See, I'll share this particular do these two, right? So you can visit our SIM Intelligence site too. So fee structure and all, just contact one WhatsApp number that you will get to know on what kind of nature of you can say course that you required, and all according to that particular course requirement, the course fee will be there, and it will be provided. You can say it's not so much, you can say heavy, so you can say it's very reasonable, don't worry. Any other doubts? Hope you people have understand what uh, our sessions plans, and how we are going to conduct this particular sessions. I am really thankful to be here, each and everyone. We say it's a great honor me to you can say take these sessions and explain about all these things. And thank you so much, each and everyone, to the part of this particular session. And any doubts, contact or this particular area of concern, you can mail us and you can WhatsApp us at any given point of time. We will always available 24 hours 7. Okay, right? So thank you so much for this, you can say, patience, as well as you can say this great session. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Yeah, thank you. Any doubts, you can ask us. How about job opportunities in QRadar? See, as we know, security itself, it is a booming aspect in right now area. So there are huge job opportunities available in QRadar, right? So QRadar is one of the, you can say, one of the top most leading SIEM in the market. So the opportunities are of course quite heavy. So So you, we are here to provide it as a training area, and we do provided see something like we do asks to fill your forms whenever there is a references are there. We do provide that particular references. We do contact people if there is any references are there. Then we will easily provided that references details to the people too. Right? Thank you, Varun.
Thanks a lot, Vishnu.
Thank you so much, Mahesh. Yeah. So that's all for the day, guys. And have a very nice day. And good night to all. Bye. Yeah, Sai, do you have any doubts?
Yeah,
Naga.
Vishnu, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Naga. Very good evening. Do you have any doubt? Bye, Varun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
can you explain what is like DSSM,
Yeah. See, there is something called like, okay, very nice. See, I'll take
device
it.
support module?
Yeah, device support module. Let's say, let's say I will take a product. Let's say I'm taking something called Microsoft Exchange. Microsoft Exchange. Let's say I'm taking a Cisco switch, right? So this is what one device, one service, and I'll take some firewall. Let's say I'm taking Symantec firewall, right? This is another device, right? So we have some different devices. So what is a service? It's a mail service. Here this is a switch, that may or a router activity where network data is there. Here the access rules, and you can say denies activity. The rules which the log which created is very different from this, and it is different from this. So one log parser, or you can say one support module, cannot collect source IP, destination IP from this area, this area, right? So for this particular device, we create something called DSM, called Microsoft Exchange DSM. We called, let's say there is a DSM for Cisco switch called Cisco switch DSM. Similarly, Symantec firewall DSM. So like this in QRadar, this is the various properties, whatever. See, let's say I have so many products. I'll show you. So if you go here as a area, yeah. If you open DSM, this DSM editor, see there are lot many DSMs are available for each major concern of service, major concern of products, major concern of clouds, major concern of activities. They have their own DSM, so that will pass into your logs, that will pass into your detailed area and dig out the solution for that, right? So this is what is mean by DSM, right?
Yeah, Vishnu. Thank you.
Yeah. So we will dig out.
Yeah.
See if there is no.
Vishnu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have small for
Yeah.
this one parsing purpose or
Yeah. This is for
mainly for.
parsing purpose, identify some various activities, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Naga. Here only security logs are parsed, right? Uh, right. It's not security logs, Mr. Varun, because you can say it is a concern of various logs. See, there are system logs, security logs, setup logs, and you can say there's something called audit log, file integrity logs. So each and every log is important for us. See, if you want to collect some area of concern, something like you want to collect the assets and make asset management, you require some system logs. Sometimes you require some, you want to know. See, the suspiciousness can be anywhere. So you can't assume that only security logs will find out the suspicious activity, other will not do the activity, right? So each and every log is important as a SIEM personnel, right? So for the log analysis, we have to understand what are the different logs are coming. Let's say one service, I'm providing a DHCP service. Very good example is if your logs are getting, sorry, your pool is getting exhausted, is in an attack or it is a overcrowded of your DHCP client. Maybe DHCP clients are more, because of that your DHCP is getting, you can say, over exhausted. So there are two conditions. Even this particular SIEM is not only providing security alerts and also provides something called services fine tuning. If you are finding so many junk logs there without any concern, without any, I mean, though the services were running very smoothly, but on the background there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands or events are getting, you can say generated because of no use. You can tell them, you can disable those activities so that those logs will be disabled, and with that you can even fine tune your network congestion. You can stop network congestion, you can stop, you can say denial of service by, you can say, fine tuning of your services by understanding your logs here. So SIEM is not only to focus on your security, it's on also understanding your network area and fine tuning of your network services as well as your data services, DB services and all, right? Application services, right? Yeah. Thank you, Varun. So, any other doubts? I hope each individual understood this particular session very briefly as well as, you can say, understanding manner. Any other questions? Yeah. So that's all from other guys. So Nitish asked one question, uh, and you can say Varun asked two, three questions. We discussed all these, and finally Varun again, Varun, Sai. Yeah, that's all. I hope I covered all others question and doubts clarified. So any other doubts, just let me know so that we will go through it. Otherwise, we can close the session. Yeah, that great, guys, and I welcome all you. I welcome you all to the SIMs. You can say this particular SIM intelligence, and I am very eager to see take these sessions as you people are really having a very great patience to understand the sessions and all. Thank you so much once again, and good night. And that's all for the day. Yeah, thank you, Varun. Thank you so much to be the part of this particular session. Yeah, bye. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishnu. Good night.
Yeah, yeah, good night, Naga. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, Saif. Thank you so much. Good night.